friends, and it's like, no, it's like, then then how do you expect dating to be any easier? What's wrong with you? I just want to let you guys know, I get zero bitches. Like, it won't happen, especially because communities were so tight knit that everyone knew each other. We know you don't get any bitches. Like, we don't care. So originally, this video was just gonna be about being lonely and how you can combat your loneliness, coming from a 21-year-old that's never really dated. That's probably gonna be in the title. That's not clickbait. I've never had a actual adult relationship. I've had like little relationships in middle school, and if you could even call it a relationship towards the beginning of high school, but other than that, there has been no like adult relationship that I've been a part of, like for real. Originally, it was just going to be a video about me talking about being lonely and how you can combat it, my experience with it, because I'm very experienced in that. But then I had a conversation with a friend, and they were talking about the difficulties of dating nowadays. So I'm going to start off with talking about what I originally wanted to talk about, which is loneliness, how you can combat it, and I want to hedge here for a second. If I come off as really harsh or really provocative towards any of these topics, I want you to understand it's nothing towards anyone else out there that might be lonely. These are just the self-deprecating thoughts that I give to myself, okay? So if I sound really mean at any point, remember, it's not towards you, it's towards me, okay? I'm the loser here, okay? And then after I talk about all the lonely stuff, I want to get into dating, and if it really is more difficult than it was maybe 20, maybe 30 years ago. My mind's racing like at a mile a minute. I don't know, I'm on like a burner today. Jeez. Putting effort into your appearance. So this is the very first thing that comes with loneliness. These are, what I'm going to attack here are mainly arguments posed by people that, I'm going to put this in the nicest way possible, that don't have much interaction with the female specimen, I'm gonna say. Jesus, I tried to put it nicely, but I just sounded weird. They get zero play, nothing. It's arguments that I've heard from people that won't interact with girls that much, and slight like aside here, I am going to be talking through a male perspective because that is my subjective experience, and I can really mostly only talk to my subjective experience, but a lot of what I'll say can be generalized to everybody. A big thing I hear from a lot of people is, well, I'm too ugly for people to like me, or I just don't look as good as that other guy, or I'm not as jacked as that other guy, I don't have as nice hair as that other guy, I don't dress as well as that other guy, so that's why they have all the girls, or they have all the guys, I guess, and I have nothing. Appearance is the first thing I'm talking about because it doesn't matter all that much. You're led to believe that it matters, and it does matter in, I'm not going to be the person to tell you that, like, well, looks don't matter, it's just the merit of who you are. No, okay? People talk to you if you look good, okay? It's pretty bias, or it's something, it rhymes somewhere. But people do have a bias towards people that look better. That's a thing. The reason why this isn't a sticking point, the reason why this is my first point, and I'm not going to make a big deal out of it, is because looking good, all it does is get your foot in the door. Looking good does nothing else for you. If I meet somebody and they look amazing, they look like the best person ever, and I talk to them and they're really nice, if you're into all the instinctual hormone like kissing and sexual relations and stuff like that, that's going to be nice if they like you back for a bit. But after a while, once you're done with all of that, you're met with an actual person that you have to enjoy spending time with. When you have a significant other, that's the person that you want to be able to spend the most amount of time with, the person that should be able to understand you the most. Looking good does none of that for you. It just doesn't. It gets your foot in the door, it gets people to come up and talk to you, but once they're there talking to you, then everything else I'm going to talk about in this video, that's when that comes into play. Now, you might be saying, okay, that's fine and dandy, but if I can't get my foot in the door, I'm not getting in the house, which is true. But I'm here to tell you, it's not that hard. If you put just 5% effort, 10% effort into your appearance, you're fine. Because again, it's just to get into the door. You don't have to look like Ryan Gosling or Chris Hemsworth. God bless those men, but like, you don't have to look like them. You just have to look like a well put together version of you. And you might be saying, well, I don't want to go to the gym and I don't want to do it. You don't, listen, I love the gym. The profession I'm studying is the gym. I'm studying to be a sports scientist, okay? I'll be the first person to tell you you don't need to go to the gym. Big muscles, usually, they don't matter. Big muscles matter to other people that want or have big muscles. That's pretty much it. If you go and you get big muscles or you care about your fitness, it shows that you have care about yourself and it shows that you're able to have care about other things that may be difficult. That's what that may show a little bit, but it doesn't matter all that much. You don't have to go to the gym. What you can do is try to upgrade your fragrance, try to smell nice, try to find a hairstyle that looks good on you. Try to put effort into your clothing. Try to purposely know what you're wearing and what colors go with what. Try to be groomed most of the time. Try to make your beard look nice, or if you're a girl, try to have your hair look nice, or shaved hair if you like that or want somebody that's into that. Just make it so you're putting any amount of effort into your appearance. Do you ever wonder why celebrities seem so much more attractive than other people? It's because they put effort into their appearance. They put so much money, time, and thought into how they look like that of course they're gonna look better than other people. It's like any other skill. If I put effort, time, and thought into being a good fighter, being a good MMA fighter, I'm probably gonna be a better MMA fighter than a random Joe off the street. It's the same with looks. It's pretty much the same with any skill in life. If you try, you'll be better at it. And you don't have to be that good or that good looking to get your foot in the door. So that's point A. I said I wasn't going to stick on this too much, but I did a little bit. But trust me, just put maybe 5 to 10% effort in your appearance and it'll pay off in massive, massive dividends. B is improving your speaking ability or your public speaking abilities. A lot of people sound really smart because they can string sentences together and they can publicly speak very well. If you put, I was in this communications class in my college thing, and in communications class they make you publicly speak. Okay, I'm really good at publicly speaking. I don't really get nervous. I do a little bit, but I'm still human. But it doesn't impede my performance in any way. I like public speaking. I'll do it any day. When I did that, I had a lot of people admiring me and telling me that I seemed very intelligent, when in actuality, a lot of the subjects that we were talking about in that public speaking class, I did like a once-over on an article. I didn't know anything about what I was talking about, but I can string together sentences pretty concisely, and I can say like decently nice-sounding words, put them together, and say them with confidence, so people will think, oh, this guy knows what he's talking about, when in actuality, I sometimes I don't know what I'm talking about. It's the same thing when you're going to date somebody. People always say, well, I want to date a smart person. I want somebody that is very intelligent. And then if you're thinking to yourself like, well, there's no intellectual field that I'm in. There's nothing like big that interests me that might interest other people. What am I supposed to do? Just work on talking. Practice talking publicly to other people. Once you get over that fear, you're able to have, one, fluid conversations with other people, and two, when you talk to other people, they're gonna gain the sense of confidence from you where it's like, damn, this guy knows what he's talking about. And you don't actually have to know what you're talking about. You can just sound really good when you're talking. Talking and communicating with people, oddly enough, is a massive, massive component into meeting people and having deep relationships with them. Point C is the biggest reason why I just never get into any relationships, okay? Point A and B, I feel like these are two things that I've learned over the years that make it so it's much easier for me to meet people, even though I don't end up dating them. These are things that makes it so it's easier to get my foot in the door. C is a much more of a personality problem, but if you don't have C, it makes it hyper difficult to build any sort of relationship, friendships, romantic relationships, and even relationships with family, like familiar relationships. It makes it very difficult. C is the ability to grow interpersonal connections with people and truly let them into your lives. This is different than just talking to people, okay? When you talk to people, you have a set goal. If we're talking, like in the communications class, I'm speaking, I'm publicly speaking, and I'm doing it well, but I'm not emotionally engaging with anybody in the classroom. I'm talking about a subject. There's a subject matter in play. Even in small talk, when you go up to small talk with people, there's a subject matter in play, and it's divorced from any emotional state they have. So when I go up to you and I ask you, "Oh, how was your day? Was it good? Oh, how was work or whatever?" These are just like bland questions that we ask each other to make small talk. It's divorced from any actual feelings that we might have. We're not. When I ask you, "How was your day?" You're never gonna actually come back at me and be like, "Well, actually, my dog died and my mom's in the hospital, and I can't take it." And like, no one, like, except the most highly like non-emotional intelligent person is gonna respond to that question like that. When you're able to talk to people, the next step, the next logical step, is to elevate your relationship. I want you to tell me intimate things about you. I want to be able to tell you intimate things about me. I want us to share time over a large period of time in order for us to understand each other as people. If you want advice on how to do this, I can't tell you. Here, quick story from me. I've lived here. I live around the Florida area, right? I've lived here for about 2 years. I don't know how personal I want to get. I go to the gym a lot, and I've had this friend that I go to the gym with. Me and this friend have known each other since I moved here, so damn near 2 years, if not a year and a half. One of the very few times we hung out outside of the gym, we were walking by a fast food restaurant called Jollibee. And he asks me, "Oh, do you think the food from that place is nice?" And I'm like, "Oh, not really. I used to work there for like half a year." And he looks at me. He's like, "What do you mean you used to work there for half a year?" I'm like, "Yeah, I used to work there for half a year. The food's not that great." Like, and then he looks at me and he goes, "There's things about you that like you never say ever. Like I can never tell what you're gonna say next." If you have somebody that is in a deep personal connect that thinks they have a deep personal connection with you, that thinks they're your friend or thinks they're your significant other or thinks they're a close family member, and they can't predict the next thing that's coming out of your mouth some of the times, like they can't assess your state of mind, they don't know key facts about you. You'll say something about you and they're like, "Oh, really? Jesus, I would have never imagined that." Then there's a problem. What happens is, or at least what happens with me, I don't know if you'll subjectively agree to this or not, you meet people and then in your mind you separate them for some reason. They're like, "This person isn't my actual friend for some reason," or "This person isn't actually close to me." So you build a wall where it's like, I can't give too much information away. It might be due to some insecurity. It might be due to some fear of being harmed in any way emotionally. But for some reason, it happens, and it can't happen if you actually want to build intimate relationships with people. It can't be a thing. You have to open up to them emotionally. They have to know what your state of mind is. They can't be surprised when you tell them something intimate about yourself and they're like, "Whoa, I would have never guessed that." That can't happen. I think feeling alone for an extended period of time can be looked at objectively, and there are things that you and I are probably doing wrong that can be fixed to maybe stop feeling that way. Of course, what's exempt from this is any situation in which people have a genuine medically diagnosed disorder in which it makes the damn near almost impossible to fix any of these steps along the way. And for those people, I highly, highly recommend you seek professional help and seek maybe medication. And I can guarantee you, through help, things do get better. Through active and attentive reconstruction of how you view the world and how you approach problems, things can definitely get better. I just wanted to get that quick aside away because I know there are people that even if they genuinely try, they need intervention in order to get better. But I do believe that if you're watching this right now, you can get better. Last 2 points. On the point that dating nowadays is more difficult. I made the argument that I don't think dating nowadays is more difficult. I think that, one, we have more of a array of opinion now. We are surveying more people now. In the 1990s, in the 1980s, the internet didn't exist, all right? If there were a lot of lonely people and a lot of people that just didn't get any play, we would have never known. There's no one to say these things out loud. Like, what are you gonna do? Go to the town square and be like, well, guys, I just want to let you guys know I get 0 bitches. Like, it won't happen. Especially because communities were so tight knit that everyone knew each other. We know you don't get any bitches. Like, we don't care. But now, because we're all interconnected, like, theoretically, I could just go date somebody from fucking Connecticut right now. I'm in Florida. Like, we have people that can be more outspoken about the fact that they're lonely. So it's like, whoa, we're getting all these lonely people out of nowhere. When in actuality, maybe there isn't that many more lonely people. Maybe we just have more people saying, with the ability to say that they're lonely. Regardless of that, I do believe that dating nowadays does have problems. I just believe that I don't think it's really harder. I just think we have a different set of problems. Before, arranged marriages were a thing. And even if arranged marriages weren't a thing back in like the 1980s, 1990s, it was basically arranged marriage because you had your tight-knit community and you marry or date somebody in that community. If you lived in Connecticut, back in the 1980s, unless you travel abroad, you're probably dating somebody in Connecticut. There's no real going out and finding other people that may be much more to your liking. It didn't exist. So maybe there was like a lot more unhappy relationships and people were breaking up more back then. I don't have any statistics to back that up, but now we have the problem of we have too much selection. We can hyper pick too much, especially since 1 in 10 partnered adults have met through like some sort of online dating app in the United States. Yeah, dating apps are highly selection specific to whoever's using it. You can just people that you would probably love, adore in real life, you're just like swiping on and like not even giving them the time of day because like their outward appearance isn't as impressive as someone else's outward appearance. That is a big problem. But I would raise that we don't have it much worse. We just have a different set of problems and we have to navigate them in a new way. I think there's a big problem with saying that we have a big problem with saying that dating is so much more difficult, because what it does is it alleviates people that are lonelier from their responsibility to get better. Because while there are outside factors that do contribute to your loneliness, I'm not saying there's not, there is definitely responsibility and things that you can put in place to make it better, to make it so you're not as lonely anymore. And off-putting all of the blame onto society as a whole doesn't really help you all that much, does it? That's like, I used this analogy with my friends the other day, but that's like playing a Souls game. You're playing a Souls game, you're fighting this boss, and you keep dying. Your friend comes in, you're like, hey man, what's up? And you're livid. You're like, this game is so garbage. It's so dog shit. Why I keep dying to this goddamn boss? It makes no fucking sense. And then he comes up and asks you, so like, what are you doing? Like, what's one of the main mechanics that you can use to beat this boss? And it's like, yeah, well, I only have my sword and I can only attack it. I have light and heavy attacks. Well, I guess I could dodge, but like, and he's like, wait, hold on. This is a dark. You haven't been dodging? It's like, yeah. It's like, you should be dodging, right? When he tries to attack you. And you're like, yeah, I know. And he's like, why haven't you been dodging? And then you're like, well, I didn't wanna. And it's like, then why the fuck are you complaining about dying to the boss? That's how I feel whenever people are like, well, dating is so hard. It's like, okay, have you gone outside? Have you gone to like bars? Have you gone to bookstores? Have you worked on your interpersonal relationships? Have you put any effort into your appearance? Have you practiced talking to people? Have you practiced making friends? And it's like, no. It's like, then how do you expect dating to be any easier? What's wrong with you? I'm sorry. Again, I'm not mad at any of you. This is like internalized anger at myself, okay? Okay. I want to end this video off with a little bit of positivity because I just feel like it'd be useful. I want you to come away from this video knowing that you can change things about yourself. You can make things better by taking an objective look at yourself. Now, when I say objective, reality and objectivity is not inherently negative. It never is. There's positives and then there's negatives to reality. You have to look at yourself through that lens. You have to look at yourself through a objective lens and see, how can I maximize the positives and minimize the negatives? And I guarantee you you're able to do that. You're probably well, you're old enough to be watching this video, so you're like anywhere from your teens to your adults. You live in the 21st century and you have agency over yourself. You have so much. You have so much at your fingertips. I promise you that you're able to change and get better. And with that, I hope you had a good morning. I'll see you later. Bye.